Site 42 staff, do you read me? Calling all Foundation staff, this is Dr. Theron Sherman broadcasting from Site 42. Do you read? We are digitizing our signal. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe, and all that YouTube jazz on your encrypted Foundation YouTube accounts. Please do not use your public-facing YouTube account. I'm talking to you, Steve. We are waiting for confirmation of our digital signal beaming to the Foundation staff members. If you hear us, give us word. Microphone on. Broadcast streaming. Chat is up. I see you, Connection Overlord. I see you, Amber Nelson and Etoile. Site 84, I got you. All right. Amber has given us confirmation we are live, so we are going on in 3, 2, 1. Hey there, Foundation staff. This is Dr. Sherman, but you can call me Sherm. Welcome to another anomalous broadcast from Site 42. For anybody unfamiliar with our show, the rundown goes like this. Number 1, I read you an SCP document or tale, something from the main site. B, we go over that with, I broke my brain. I open up the floor to the community to discuss what we have read. We're often visited by SCP authors, staff, fans, and if we're lucky, the author of the article themselves shows up to share some insight. Remember that if you'd like to join the conversation yourself, I will be monitoring the YouTube chat right over here, as well as the no mic in the Site 42 Discord server. If you have questions for our guests or myself, be sure to ask them there. Please make sure it's relevant to tonight's subject matter. Also, remember that if you enjoy the show, leave a like and a comment to let us know. Subscribe and hit the bell. And if you really want to help us out, become a patron at patreon.com/site42. Before I introduce our guests and get the show rolling, I have one little plug for Site 42, and that is that starting today, ending New Year's Day, midnight, New Year's Eve to New Year's Day, I have started the Site 42 Expanded Universe Competition, or is it Cinematic Universe? The Site 42 Cinematic Universe Competition. It is an SCP writing competition, so you have to be a member of the SCP Wiki, you gotta know how to write an SCP, stuff like that. But we're gonna follow all the same rules as your basic SCP competition on the site. Everyone who's participated in a contest like that, you know the deal, don't break the rules, stuff like that. The only difference is that this is completely not affiliated with the SCP Wiki. It is privately run by me and the Site 42 community, and there is a prize, a mystery prize, a mysterious gift. And this mysterious gift will be given to the winner. Details for this can be seen in the Site 42 Discord server's announcements, as well as on the Site 42 Twitter. So if you want more details and you want to enter the competition, check out the rules there. For tonight, we are going into the next chapter of the Limited Memory series. Tonight's story is called Internet Explorers. And joining us tonight are 2 of the 4 writers from the team who wrote this series, Tyumen and Izabi, who are going to be visible to or audible to you in approximately 3, 2, 1. Hello, you gang!
Hello. How are y'all tonight?
Go ahead and introduce yourselves real quick so that the audience who may not have been here before knows who you are.
Okay, I'm Isabi. I helped write this. I'm an author on the wiki. I've wrote a couple things, but yeah, this is one of my first things on the site that I actually posted.
Congratulations.
Hey, what's
Thank
up? Sorry about that. Sorry.
Go ahead, Tyumen.
Okay, this is kind of sorry about that, Sabi. My name is Tyumen. I've written things for the site. That's pretty much all I can say about myself.
Can you give me a repeat of that? It cut off a little bit in and out.
So to reiterate, I write things sometimes. That's all I can say. I wrote this tale that we're gonna read, right? Hope you enjoy it. Oh, wait. Yeah, hold up. Grigory Karpin?
What about Grigory Karpin?
He's in the He's watching us.
Oh, Grigori's in the YouTube chat. Hello, Grigori.
Yeah.
How are you doing, bud? All right, Tyumen, Azabi, do you have anything to say about Internet Explorers before we go into the reading?
This one was mostly Tyumen and Pedagon's thing. I just kind of helped with like proofreading it, so I can't really speak too much on like the writing process. But you guys can probably take care of it.
Oh, it was pretty much a transitional sort of story. I thought we initially didn't plan to put anything like this in the series, but I thought since the last story ends with Glacon and Mamazine escaping into the internet, being faced by horror and business with Cradle, I thought that it would make sense to have a part where it clarifies what they did in between the time that Iron and Steel and Fragmented Child the Flip by now took place. So this was a really spur of the moment decision. I had to write a rough draft for the day. And I gave it to the rest of my team for proofreading. Pedagon did some huge edits to it. And I reverted some of those edits, but kept in a lot that I thought was good. Because Pedagon did a really good job, by the way. But, it's like, idea is, but yeah, that's how we got here. This tale has been called, Ralph Breaks the Good. So, with that information, well, I'm glad we did better than Disney or Pixar or whatever studio that movie.
If I can give a quick summary, just because it seems like, Tyumen, right now your mic is cutting in and out a lot. It might be lag or it just might be like push to talk or something. But essentially what Tyumen set up to here before I let him attempt to fix his mic is A, that this was a last-minute tale, B, it went through a very quick writing process and then a very quick critique process, as always, some of which was taken, some of which wasn't. And the nickname for this is, if I got that right, Ralph Breaks the Internet, but better than Disney did it.
Exactly, yeah.
I
can't tell if Tyumen is talking or not.
He muted and deafened himself. I think he's trying to fix it.
Okay.
I'm not sure. So go on.
All right, well, we'll run the show. We'll check on you after the reading, and we'll see what happens. So, audience folk in the YouTube chat, I see you guys. Hey, Grigori. Hey, Lady Fairy J. Good to see you again. Charles Hancock, welcome. Everybody, thanks for warning me about the lag. And now, we are going to switch from Sherman view to the browser view because, as we have done with Limited Memories, the team did a lot of great work on the visualization. And so I'm going to switch over to browser view and read along from there so you can see everything that's on the page. That's not supposed to be the button I wanted to click. Oops. Ignore that. They're not sponsoring us today. Oops. Okay, here we are. Here's the real thing, everybody. So, the Infotech Department, Artificial Intelligence Applications Division, story name, Internet Explorers. Banging microphone sounds while I readjust myself. Please don't mind me. And preface. From the rip in digital space-time, a party of avatars emerge. So, this is it? Yes. We've made it. Two silver-skinned humanoids stand side by side and look out at their sanctuary. One runs its fingers through his close-cut orange hair and releases a long-held breath. The other moves a handful of curly, electric magenta fuzz off from where it had rested loosely on her blindfold. Behind them, a cloud of small cubes, prisms, and a single inconspicuous red pyramid floats idly in place, intermittently rearranging itself and blinking its single bright yellow eye. The three look on, down at the road ahead and up at the towering low-poly realm laid out before them. And as a chick-check, Pyramid is a crosslink to The Last Tale, a symphony of iron and steel. Continuing on. The cloud and the girl watch in silence as the man raises his hands, palm up, to chest level, as if to carry a delicate and ancient text, and gazes down upon them. Suddenly, a rectangular, neon outline traces the periphery of his hands and bathes the trio in a bright orange glow, emanating from the sky above them. When the light abates, a large neon book reveals itself in his hands. He cracks the worn spine and darts his eyes from page to page energetically. Whoa! How did you learn how to do that? Oh, this? Nah, this is just a fancy parlor trick. This book represents a directory of the internet. You've got one too. Every AIC is equipped with one. Wait, seriously? Studying his posture intently, the thaumaturge lifts her hands and flips them over. Then, from the space around her, a bright violet light begins to glow across her palms. Once the light dissipates, she is left holding a slightly thicker neon journal, indented with a set of opened eyes. But she had already started flipping through the pages before it had the chance to fully render any of these intricacies. Interesting. It looks like your directory also includes hidden and deleted web pages. Not that those are what we need right now. Neat. Yes. All right. Now that we've got both our maps out, let's find exactly where we are. As if prompted by his words, the city before them springs to life. The buildings, once harshly rendered low poly constructions, gradually gain at detail and shading. Ray trace lights pour through the falling rain from the simulated sun above, casting shadows on the pavement and illuminating the throngs of faceless, porcelain-smooth bodies that now bustle around the trio. Their anonymous forms seem not to notice anything other than themselves, and the vast assortment of things that they carry with them. Some, dressed in fitted garb exemplifying their vast wealth, hurriedly jot down notes and records as they go along. Others, dressed in more casual wear, hum and skip along empty-handed. The rest move swiftly in unrecognizable bodysuits as they carry huge scrapbooks, which they periodically stop to tweak and write in. The three conscripts weave and push through the crowd, stopping in a quiet space by the side of the road for brief solace. Then, before she could catch her breath, the girl felt a sharp tug on her shirt. She turns, confused, to find a figure in tattered clothes with a barcode for a face. It sits with its back against the wall of a building. I guess that's a typo, with an outstretched arm hanging limply in the air, fingers clasped over cloth. It lifts another of its many hands and rattles an empty cup towards her. What do you... A garbled, scattered voice, larger than its body, rumbles from within the building. Sif Pivs 4. What the fuck? Don't panic, it's just an ad. We've actually got some experimental Foundation tech on board to deal with this sort of thing. He flicks his finger across the top of his wrist in the direction of the slumped advertisement, flinging out a small gray pellet embroidered with a red hyphen, I think. The beggar sways, dazed for a moment before the sounds coming from it cease. After the brief pause, it continues to wave its mug towards the trio, only adjusting to its lost voice by exaggerating its mouth movements as if to inspire its mark to read its lips. He rolls his eyes, double taps his wrist, and motions again towards the advertisement. This time, the pellet shoots out at a higher speed and is embroidered with a red X. The panhandler collapses into a pile of pixelated dust with a muted screech of pain. Several other advertisements in similar positions down the street follow suit and crumble with garbled speeches. The bustling herd of faceless avatars continue to pass through as if the beggars had never been there at all, stamping their remains into the pavement. Those damn things slow everything down. I hope they never catch on here. Agreed. Now, where have we got to go? Let's see. Ah, here we are. I've heard about some new surveillance tech the Foundation has been watching over the internet. I've heard about some new surveillance tech the Foundation has been watching over the internet. They're called web crawlers, and we'd probably be able to hitch a ride on one of them back into Foundation net space. All of them originate at Site 15, after all. Yes. That would be ideal. Which website should we use? Well, to reduce their chances of blowing the Foundation's cover upon malfunction, most web crawlers have been implanted at smaller media sites who still primarily use paper print. I think it's to let them watch the digital and outside world for any anomalous activities. The New York Times is probably our best bet at finding one, and we're getting closer to a place that'll help us get there. Sidebar from Sherman here. You said, okay, let's use a small one, and then we picked the New York Times. Isn't that pretty big? I thought, but maybe, I don't know. The man points above the bustling crowd at a massive space between towering skyscrapers. A great train station rose like a fortress far above, its many terminals visible through a sheet of green glass windows that reflected the afternoon light. Tracks protruded from the sides of buildings like tongues, and the windows from which they extend spit out train after train packed with mannequin-esque avatars in quick succession. An exclamation, Yahoo! Yahoo! As is proper, is emblazoned in neon lights across the facade of the hub. Is this Core? This is a sinister voice. Okay. High in the shadows of the web, an omnipresent raptor watches its prey. With a single green eye, it takes note of their every movement, trajectory, and even speech. After observing for a few more moments, it lowers the end of its metallic finger into the simulspace below, sending ripples throughout the domain. As the ripples move through the land, its pupil splits, and the duplicates drip down, oozing out and falling among the raindrops. Upon contact with each fallen droplet of chaos, a faceless avatar stops in place and hunches over. Amidst the roar of the crowd, 3 corrupted entities stand loose, surrounded by their spilled cargo on the ground around them, and grow a single grotesque feature, a large, sickly green eye in the center of their face. Empowered by its new bodies, Core begins to hunt once more. We're here! The man stops and makes a dramatic flourish before the double revolving doors of the train station. The avatars pouring in and out swerve automatically around him, as if he were never even in their way. Alright, now to hitch a... Whoa! Hitch a ride on me scrolling too fast. Alright, now to hitch a ride. To be honest, as fascinating as this internet place is, I will be glad to be rid of it. Yes. Alrighty then, time to depart. The trio cross into the station's enormous main hall, talking and laughing amongst themselves. On a balcony high above, a lone avatar watches them with its single, unblinking eye. Alright, here we are. For once, the girl with magenta hair beats her companions to their destination. She stands impatiently, arms crossed at the door to a terminal. You know, we could have just typed the New York Times into our directories and gotten here instantly. That's what this place is meant for. Oh, why didn't you tell me this? You seem to be in such a hurry to get here yourself. I didn't want to interrupt. Well, I suppose I should have listened to you. She trails off, staring intently at the staircase behind them. Nemazine, What's wrong? Something's coming. I can barely see it through the murk. It feels close. As if on cue, 3 identical avatars, each dressed in sharp business suits, approach the trio and stand directly in their path. Oh, don't be afraid, Nemazine. They're just... He stops short as the closest avatar to them raises its head, revealing a nauseous green eye. The others behind it follow suit. I forget who is voicing Core, but are they here and do they wish to do so?
A placeholder was doing it.
Okay, Placeholder was doing that.
Yeah.
I could fill in.
Either you want to fill in? Go for it.
All right, sure.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
All right. Friends, comrades, it's not a wonderful place. There's much to be said about being a part of a greater whole. I'll show you. After all.
All right, well, I have discovered that Tyumen's microphone is still not functioning properly.
Damn it.
Oh no.
Izabi, how about you take it because you can be heard?
Yeah.
All right. Friends, comrades, is this not a wonderful place? There is so much to be said about being a part of the greater whole, is there not? Please, let us show you. It is inevitable after all.
Run! The 3 avatars run through the turnstiles and onto the platform, pursued shortly by the 3 grotesque salarymen. The 2 humanoids catch sight of a set of open train doors and leap towards them as they close, trapping their cubic companion on the outside as it bashes violently into the closed doors. Behind it, the hunters surround their prey. No! Get away from 8-Ball, you! There's nothing we can do. We have to get back to the Foundation. Ooh, red character. Should this be a voice? Is there a hint? Oh! I remember this! Okay. Any cues to a voice I should use for this? Or / take on? Because I don't know who this character really is.
Well, maybe just like kind of quiet, like whispering.
Okay.
Yeah.
The prisoner. Again. I will not fail. Not this time. 8-Ball looks around as its captors gather around it. Knowing that neither fight nor flight are options, and that it has no choice but to succumb to its captors, it closes its eye and waits, floating in place as death closes in. This body shall be a tool. The whole is only as great as the sum of its parts. Suddenly, 8-Ball feels a twitching, a glitching in its very being, and has no choice but to pay attention. The 3 corruptions stop, staring in confusion as the cubes hue shift and violently spasm, rearranging themselves into hundreds of jagged red shards, a ferocious set of teeth. What is ... Look closely, prisoner, and observe. This is the power that will be your downfall. Without warning, the amorphous cloud of fangs explodes outwards. Core's 3 bodies writhe and scream as they are ruptured and shredded by fragment after fragment. Their eyes dim as they each collapse into billions of pixels and scatter onto the train station's floor. Above them, Core snaps back in pain and confusion. 8-Ball watches with analytical interest and confusion before its consciousness fades to black. I hope I have done you well. I pray that I have not failed you. When it comes to, 8-Ball finds itself floating just outside of an open door of a train, being jostled by passers-by. It blinks its eye once and flexes its cubes groggily. Glass on. Nemazine. There is no answer. 8-Ball turns to the train, then back to the platform. Perhaps its companions went on without it. For the first time in its short life, 8-Ball's photographic memory has no recollection of any of the previous events. It records a note for itself to report this glitch to Site Command whenever it gets to them. Still confused, its mind foggy, 8-Ball boards the train. This doesn't feel right. I know. We should have done something. I know how you feel, and truth be told, I feel the same way, but there was nothing we could have done. The two remaining heroes stand on a train platform and face off into a harsh room, textured in black and white. The girl wipes her face, eyes bloodshot from crying, and holding back another onslaught of tears. The golden-eyed man stands beside her, with his gaze turned downward. His occasional words of reassurance are met by deaf ears. We can grieve later. Right now, our priority is finding the web crawler and getting back to Site 15 before the prisoner, quote-unquote, gets to us. That's what 8-Ball would have wanted us to do. 8-Ball? Yes, 8-Ball. Wait, what? But she couldn't hear him. Instead, she was already too busy running towards the train platform, where their geometrical companion awaits them. With a squeal of joy, she wraps it in an embrace and begins to rub its prisms affectionately. 8-Ball! You're all right? Yes. I don't sense any traces of that thing on you. How could you escape? Data lost. We can worry about that once we're back at the Foundation, guys. Right now, we've got to get to the web crawler before our luck changes for the worse. It's good to have you back, 8-Ball. Come on, let's go. How persistent. Core floats once again like a cloud above the internet, watching the three conscripts make their way through the virtual headquarters of the New York Times. It knows that it could not approach them as it had before. They are now too close to their destination and the prying eyes of the Foundation. And that risking making itself known this soon would be its downfall. Not to mention, how on earth could it do that? The heavy defenses of the inconsequential bundle of cubes came as a shock to Core, especially considering that none of its observations had even remotely hinted at such a possibility. The cubes seemed weak when it had been with its companions, but were simultaneously capable of taking Core's bodies down on Core's turf as if they were nothing. It was a fascinating mystery, no matter how troublesome. But it would have to wait. After all, the conscripts had always just been a minor distraction. Core would get its chance to investigate the cubes soon enough. The three conscripts stood before a thick metal door, beyond the reach of civilian avatars. Unlike everything else in the building, this door had color and detail to it. A brass doorknob jutted out halfway up and slightly to the right. A dull grayish-teal paint spread evenly in newly applied coats, and sharp red lettering. Quote, "Secure connection providers. Authorized personnel only," was emblazoned across it. The thaumaturge placed her hand upon the doorknob, and a ripple of pink light rushed outwards from the point of contact. The door swung inwards, and the trio cautiously made their way into the room. Before them, a massive husk, resembling a gutted spider carcass, hung suspended by cables in the center of the room. The thickest of the cables protruded from the spider's underbelly and continued through a hole in the room's far wall. "This is it, the web crawler." Upon hearing its name, the spider opens its 8 eyes all at once and sleepily stares at the party before it. Its head nods slightly, but it says nothing. Requesting raw data transfer of conscripts to SCP Foundation Site 15. Call sign, Corithian 15672 Gila. The spider nods and turns its listless gaze towards the girl. Just let me pull it up. Here we are. Call sign, Ruby 73, 65, 45, MNE. Without prompting, the cloud of cubes speaks up. Rosetta 84, 76, 58, BA. The spider nods approvingly and spares it a warm glance. Slowly, purposefully, the spider extends its 2 front legs and grips its head. With an 8-eyed wince, it pulls slowly upwards, completely severing it with ease. Within the space where its neck had been, the clear ends of a fiber optic cable reveal themselves, wreathed in blinding light. Time to go home. I'll see you on the other side. With 3 flashes, the heroes are ripped from the 3rd dimension and converted back into bits and bytes before disappearing through the cables as pure information. With their departure, the great spider carefully replaces its head, slowly closes its eyes, and continues in its endless duty. End story.
There we go.
Let me bring myself back in person, recenter myself. Oh, microphone move. Sorry about the banging gang. And now the chat is back. And now the chat is back. The no mic is back. I can see everything. So, first of all, I'm going to go exactly responding to what Tyumen said before we started. You said that you wrote this and it didn't exist in the first place. It was kind of a rush job. But you know what? At the end of the day, you still gave me... I was worried that this wouldn't have any meat to it because of the way you said that. But getting the 8-bit reveal in there kind of like gave this the weight I needed from it to be worth including. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I don't know if Ty will be able to talk, but I can kind of just give like my perspective from someone who helped structure this but didn't quite help write it. Yeah, from what I understand, this was kind of just like it was supposed to be like an interlude tale between our finale and the one we read last week. Both of which are like very heavy, meaty pieces. And this was kind of just like an intermediary piece that was a little bit simpler. But yeah, like you said, the 8-bit reveal, cradle / 8-ball attack that it has against core that's like the most important thing here. I feel that you have to take away. But on top of that, I mean, there was a lot of like good, like world building moments. I feel, especially with the web crawler, which I just really like as a concept, and to now finally see it personified as like its own kind of conscript was very cool from my perspective, and I feel like a lot of people also enjoyed that. But yeah, just a lot of like little things that kind of added up to make this piece more meaningful in the long run.
I'll give you this. I am super glad that y'all went with this interlude idea.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think it very much brings a lot to the series because going into things, for anyone who's a fan of the series Firefly or its movie Serenity, this scene is, to me, just like, spoiler alert for a 10-year-old movie, the scene in Serenity where they discover the truth about the planet Miranda. They have a big fight scene. Or no. It's the scene where they're raided, everything's in trouble, and they reveal, okay, we have to go do this mission to Miranda to reveal the truth and bring the fight to the enemy. So they go from like this carnage scene, and they have a nice little meeting where they get to say their speeches, and they get to talk about what they're about to do before we get to the big finale. And I feel like that breathing space is really important.
Yeah, that's kind of what we were thinking as well. Because like just to go from like a really heavy piece into another heavy piece felt like we would just kind of rush the series a little bit too much. And from our perspectives, like giving it some some breathing room and letting the audience kind of sit with what happened before while they read this lighter tale was like the best tactical move we could have gone in delivering this story. Like, we probably could cut this out, but I feel like it would have just been a less enjoyable series overall if we did that.
And I feel like doing this with the interlude and including the red orb plot point gives you a very different feeling than if you had not had this and revealed it during the finale. Because right now, what I have is, or let's say that you didn't reveal it in this interlude. Let's say the interlude didn't exist and the red orb reveal had to happen during the finale. Then what I feel like what might have happened, and this is with me not knowing what happens in the finale, I feel like we would have had the foreshadowing when the orb landed in 8 Ball, and we're all like, okay, I see something happening there. And then employing it at the end in the finale, okay, yeah, you planted the seed, and then you revealed it. And that is serviceable. It does the job. It's good. It's better than not having the foreshadowing and just being an ass pull. But now that you've put it in this interview, what you've given me instead is kind of like hope. Like, if I went into the finale with insurmountable odds and then the weapon comes out and saves the day, that could have been one thing. But having this interlude where we see, oh, we have a weapon that could work, it gives me a much more like gung-ho, let's go in the finale with like a shred of a chance of success. And I think that like emotionally works on me better.
Absolutely, yeah. We actually wanted to include that in the previous entry, but it ended up being like way too long and it was just too much to put in one entry. So yeah, we wanted to feature that specific plot point sometime before the finale. So yeah, that was like one of the big reasons why we felt this was necessary. Because yeah, we didn't want to just pull that at the last minute. You know, it would have been just kind of hard to believe and kind of just like break your immersion a little bit too much. So yeah, it was like a tactical move, I feel.
Tyumen in the No Mic has guided us toward the discussion page, so I'm going to pull that up on the browser screen real quick so y'all can read along. Beep boop. And so when we talk about the discussion, we have Pedagon, who was one of the authors of this piece. Nemazine breaks the internet, which, did Nemazine break the internet, or is it just Nemazine ending up on the internet, I guess? Still better than Disney. But I'm going to punching bag that movie. I was so in love with Wreck-It Ralph, and I virulently dislike Ralph Breaks the Internet, so that movie's a punching bag for me. Anyways, so this was Tyumen original until I stole it and mutated it, and Ty and I fixed it together. It's a nice beach episode. Yay, beach episode. I like it. Tyumen, I've only watched the first Wreck-It Ralph. Don't watch the second one. It's not worth it. I promise.
Me too. I've only seen the first one.
Always excited to see a new AIAD file. I will say this one does feel like a transitionary story. Not that that's bad. In fact, it is good, as we have said so far, at least from our subjective opinions. But I'd like to see more development from our characters. I believe the most important of ours was establishing that part of the cradle is using 8 Ball as a vessel. Very excited for the rest of the series. It has slowly dawned on me that this series is Ralph Breaks the Internet, but better. I'm totally on board. And finally, Rounderhouse. Nemazine is not allowed to say fuck. I think this story proves that wrong.
That was a big meme in our writing circle. We didn't know if we wanted to put it in or not, but eventually decided it was better to include that.
And as Rounderhouse points out at the end of this comment, hers, I don't know Rounderhouse pronouns, but all of you in this, you guys as a team worked out the dialogue fantastically. All over with the voices of the characters are different, and not just because I'm voicing them differently, but the way they speak lent me to giving them their voices the way I did, and it works out very well. Y'all did a great job.
Thank you. Yeah.
As a quick side note to the YouTube chat, Timekeep, thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Your Polar Express as an SCP will be on the priority Conprox docket for the if X was an SCP documents. That goes for patrons and it goes for super chat. So thank you for the bribery, and I will fulfill your request on TikTok. And then probably on YouTube, because making longer versions of the TikTok videos is how I do the YouTube series. So, going back to the subject at hand, is there anything else you guys want to discuss about this that we haven't brought up? It's pretty short and sweet and straightforward.
There's actually one more thing I forgot to mention. So during the writing process of this, after Ty wrote the first part, or like the first draft of it, Pedagon wanted to rewrite it as like he describes it as a medieval like spin on it, with like the hero's journey and using certain terms associated with medieval tales, which was actually a really cool idea. This actually ended up being like a blend of that and the first draft. We didn't go all out on the medieval idea, but we did keep some of it. I don't know if you noticed, but like some of the descriptions we use for like the characters kind of sound different than what we've used in the past. And that's because we wanted to take a different approach on it. Just a little bit of trivia if anyone's interested.
Can you give me a couple examples of that? Because that one went completely over my head. I didn't notice.
Yeah, it's not super obvious. Here, let me see. It's mostly in the gray text boxes. Let me look for one. Like at one point we mentioned Nemesine as like a thaumaturge, I think.
Yep, that came up twice. And
yeah.
I see a party avatars emerge. I like that.
A party, yeah. So like we didn't want to refer to these characters by their names, so we used like descriptions of theirs instead. I don't know if we mentioned it here, but we were thinking of Glakon as being a knight, and Nemesine obviously as being like a mage. I don't know if it's super obvious, but that was something we were thinking about during the writing process.
Can you say that again? I actually just spaced because I was looking at the no mic. You mentioned Nemesine is a mage, and Glakon is
and as like a knight or like a I don't know, like a soldier or someone.
Got it.
Yeah, I don't remember what we were thinking of 8-Ball as. But yeah, just a little trivia.
That's neat. Actually, I'm of two minds on the pros because of that voice. I was a little confused because of how different it is from everything else. You do make a good point that it is during a beach episode. It is a little more relaxed, so if it has a slight change of tone, it's definitely not the end of the world or even too big a ding on it. I mean, honestly, it almost makes me want that kind of prose throughout. And but that can be kind of heavy and dramatic as well. So it's got to go one way or the other.
Yeah. 8-Ball was actually, okay, Ty had mentioned it, but 8-Ball was the Chimera, I think is how you pronounce it.
Chimera?
But yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, this was like just an experimental kind of break from the serious tone of the other pieces. So yeah, just overall experimental, fun to write, taking a different approach at it. Yeah.
And Tyumen apologizes for the sudden changes in tense. I'm so glad that you said that because I thought it was a problem, but I wasn't sure. If you go to my critiquers, the people who have worked on stories I've worked on, they will always tell you that my biggest problem is getting frickin' tenses right. Ignorance is bliss is my one tale, and it's in first person. And I had so many issues with past tense. Is it current tense? Now tense? Present tense. Present tense. I have so many problems flipping from one to the other when you're not supposed to. So I sat here and I think that's not right, but I'm not sure because that's my weakness.
Yeah.
Glasson was a paladin, Nemesine was a mage, 8-Ball a chimera, and Core was a dragon. Nice. That's the nice thing about the SCP Wiki is that we're all editors and we have other editors and we get to go back and edit it once it's published. We don't have to fret that it's now in 1 million books and we can't fix it. God.
Yeah, exactly.
How mad would you be if you found that in your book after it was published? Ugh. Tyumen in the no mic. Yeah, it's like a foray into the world of writing, but without that much stress. I mean, if you hear it from the people off-site, even our standards are pretty high, and we SCP authors come off as pretty scary. I hope that this show and me and y'all coming on pulls back the curtain so everyone knows that we're a bunch of weebs and geeks and not horrible, abusive monsters when it comes to critique.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys, we're just a bunch of nerds who like writing things. We're cool, I promise. I mean, we're not cool, we're nerds, but I get it.
Hey, nerds are cool.
Nerds are the new black, man. Orange is the new black, I guess. I don't know. Anywho, let's see. Was there anything else I wanted to throw out about Internet Explorers? Okay. Does that advertisement gibberish mean anything?
Oh, I wouldn't know. I'd have to read off what Ty says.
Give Ty a moment to respond while I look for my other things. Oh, it does mean something. And Ty put it in chat for someone who asked. And I wasn't seeing it because I was probably spouting gibberish at that point. Can we have it again? Because I'm curious. The computer of the new generation, equipped for work and play. Get the power Macintosh Performa 6400 at a computer store near you. It was put through a base 64 code generator. Neat. That's a good little Easter egg. I love things like that. Every time a name or a date or something in the article is like an Easter egg like that or some gibberish that is real, then that just makes me so much happier for the effort that people put in their stories.
I mean, that's what I try to do. I don't like throwing in random dates and like numbers and stuff. I try to like find something that I can use as like a reference to another SCP or another tale. Usually people don't find them, but just for me, it's fun.
Oh, I just thought of 2 more questions. Go me. So, number 1, what did Glasson do to the advertisement? This pellet and then this X pellet. I guess it's minimize and then close, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm. I think that's what it is. Some kind of super advanced foundation tech.
The stuff orange, I think, said in a Symphony of Iron and Steel is also in base 64, and it says some really edgy and violent things, lol. And then, oh yeah, Glasson has an ad blocker. Oh, perfect. And then, my last thing was, okay, so specifically, why are all the other avatars gray? Is that just because they're like normal people and not special Foundation AIs or something?
I'd have to ask Placeholder for the exact
only one
reason.
who's not joined us tonight.
Yeah, I think it's probably just a stylistic choice. But yeah, Ty's saying that they're anonymous. Yeah. Yeah, they're all just internet users.
Cool. Amber in the YouTube chat. I sounded like the Swedish chef reading it. Hurt the bird, put the chicken in the pot with the boom boom kaboom. Fantastic. I'm glad everyone in the chat really liked the voices I did for today. I had a lot of fun with the voice acting in this particular piece. I had very Scar vibes when I was trying to read the sinister narration parts. All right. I am out of questions. Do you guys have any final notes for the viewers before we sign off for the night?
I'm all good. Maybe give a second if he wants to add something.
Exactly. I'll see if there's a no problem or if there's something in the thing before we roll out. Wait, no. Orange wasn't base 64. Uh-oh. That was the wrong entity. It was painstakingly translated numerical code. Ooh. Then put through wingdings. 2 layers. 2 layers. For the chat who is confused, we have reached the end of the evening. We are winding down. Tonight was oh yes. Normally we've been doing 2 stories from this, but tonight's is a short one. It's a single one because next week is the big finale and the epilogue, and the finale's really long. So we're going to do the finale, which is 2 parts, and then the epilogue after that, and that will be the end of this limited memory series. So we're winding down for tonight. So yes, Grigori, we're not ending Limited Memories. That is going to be next week's show. Oh, and the things in orange from the last story that were put in painstaking numerical code followed by wingdings is things like, I will crush the prisoner beneath my iron feet, and the rivers will run red with blood, and stuff like that. Perfect. Perfection. And yes, everybody, I'm going to make sure after I'm done with this show, actually, I'm going to finally make a playlist for the Limited Memory series. That way you can easily go through the shows that are AIAD. And that'll make life a lot easier. But until then, let's say goodbye to our guests for the evening, Azabi, Tyumen, and Pedagon in the No Mic. Thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you so much. Fun as always. You guys are great.
Be safe, be well, you guys. I'm going to put you all on mute. Boop. And for everybody in the viewership, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you had fun, learned something about this story, about the wiki. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it and you are a member of the wiki, make sure to upvote it. Make sure to like this stream, share, subscribe, all those YouTube things help the channel grow because we just jumped over 20,000 subscribers on YouTube this week. Isn't that awesome? 20K here. That's good stuff. And so we are growing here. What was I going to say? We have, yes, like, share, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff. Yes, the Site42 writing competition. In case you weren't here at the beginning, go to the Site42 Twitter or Discord server because we are doing a Site42 privately run SCP writing competition. The rules are on the Twitter feed or the Discord. You'll be able to join if you are a member of the SCP Wiki and have written articles, or this could be your first article if you're feeling particularly brave and doing a contest for your first article. Good luck with that. Look at the rules, do the thing, have fun, and I will see you guys in the next video or on TikTok. Be safe, be well, enjoy. I hope you enjoyed another anomalous broadcast from Site42. Signing off.